Want to look leaner and be stronger? Then check out the Nuva Bar. It actually helps you work out. The Nuva Bar is the compact, lightweight way to regain freedom and balance. It targets your lower body, upper body, abs, and core without getting down on the floor. Best of all, the Nuva Bar is now on sale for just $99.99 plus free shipping and comes with interchangeable resistance bands with 7 full workouts. So if you want a trimmer waistline to look like you're 40 in your 60s, get the Nuva Bar and forget about crunches on the floor. Go to nuvabar.com. That's NUVABAR.com.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Want to chime in on what's happening with your favorite KFAN program? Make a voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryan text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
It may have not been exactly the same situation, but a couple of 13, 14 people have texted me at the Bradshaw and Bryan KFAN text line at 64686. And it says, yes, it happened many decades ago when a player jumped off the bench and tackled a receiver who was easily going to get a tutty running down the sidelines. The player tackled the runner and then immediately went back to the bench. The referees awarded a touchdown. Because the question mark, Rosen, was two different times. Washington was told, look, another penalty, and you're in danger of us calling a touchdown for the team because they kept well, not even so much that they kept just trying to. Obviously, the tush push is almost impossible to stop. It's only been stopped. Did Washington stop it once in that game, though? I thought they did, but it's only been stopped like twice in the entire time they've ever tried doing it. And so Washington knew when it's on first and goal from the 1, the only way they're going to be able to stop it, they have to time their start right at the count. So they were jumping it, and finally, you could do that all day long, right? And finally, the referee said, "Look, do it again. You're in danger of us calling a tutty." And eventually, they didn't jump, and then Philly scored.
Yeah, I have vague memories of the emailer's remembrance of that situation where someone tackled someone off the field.
It wasn't Woody Hayes.
Well, Woody Hayes punched the player from Clemson, and that was the end of his career. But, I think that's at that point, and the referee made the right call, and it was backed up by the rules official that they had up in the booth to say, yeah, they are very much in their right to award a touchdown. I mean, the guy from Washington, he had a smile on his face. It was like, well, the only thing I can do, just timing it, that's about the only shot we have. And eventually, you kind of hope that you're going to get a false start penalty. That's what your only shot at making the lineman jump as opposed to actually making the tackle.
We were doing a history of three-peats in men's professional sports here in the country. Hasn't happened all too many times, and we very often. Then we just started talking about when it was the AFL and the NFL, because, Green Bay did it when they won the last ever NFL championship. There were more NFL championships after they won in 65, but it was the last NFL championship in which the season didn't culminate with a Super Bowl. That was the next year, and they beat Kansas City in the first one and beat them in number 2. Right. So they won 3 in a row. They won the NFL championship in 65, then they won the Super Bowl in 66, and they won it again in 67.
Not 66. First Super Bowl was
66, 67.
Yeah,
year.
whatever it was. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So then we were talking about the merger, because it was after the Vikings lost to Kansas City, they merged, and my memory isn't very good, as you know, but this text messenger spells it out correctly. The NFL was 16 teams, and the AFL was 10 at the merger. Mm-hmm. At the merger, the Colts, Browns, and Steelers agreed to move to the AFC to create 2 13-team conferences. And I think they did agree. I don't think it was like, well, we're just going to draw straws. No. And whatever 3 teams get selected, you will now be a part of the AFC.
Say those 3 teams again. It was
Baltimore Colts, Cleveland Browns, and Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, Art Modell with Cleveland and the Rooney family with Pittsburgh. And it's kind of interesting. And then those are real traditionalists, NFL, I mean, basically almost the founders of the NFL, along with Hallis, and for them to go to the AFC, and that was a big deal. The AFL, and in that case, it was the AFL.
It was AFC, yeah, because it was the merger,
right? So
they were still under the umbrella. They were now under the umbrella of the NFL, but it was AFC, NFC.
Yeah, the Vikings actually won the NFL championship
in '69. Yeah, we talked about that. So they actually did win a league championship.
Right.
The caveat or the asterisk, though, it wasn't like winning the championship in 1956, where that was the final game. That was over.
Too bad.
There was one more game to play, and they were heavy favorites, as we know, and they got beat up pretty 23-7. I think was the final score.
by a better Kansas City team that year, and then of course they opened the season with them the following year at Met Stadium, and they beat that same team. Of course they did. It
was revenge.
Yeah,
that's even Steven.
Yeah, that's pretty close. Real close.
Was announced earlier today. Bill Guerin had a hastily arranged news conference. Kirill Kaprizov will undergo surgery for a lower body injury. Minimum 4 weeks, it looks like. Could be season ending, but we don't know. So anywhere from 4 weeks to season ending. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it speaks for itself. I mean, you knew that the smoke signals coming out of XL were not good, promising this morning when we heard they were holding a news conference to update the Kaprizov situation. He had come back for a couple of games, and I knew he had been, obviously mightily struggling with, Tanner might be right. It could be a groin thing, could be, muscle attachment, some sort of thing. It could be what's the word I was looking for? Hernia type of thing. It seems like that might be the area that we're talking about here. But when you're talking 4 weeks minimum, man, this guy's he's a beast. I mean, he's in incredible shape. He can bounce back from pretty much anything, but it's still, you have surgery, and that's going to take time, and you have to push off that body part and everything else that Kaprizov does at such a high rate. So, I mean, where are we sitting here? Almost February 1st, just about, and you hope you get him back by April. Honestly, I mean, I think in time to get a couple of weeks in before the postseason begins,
and then make a run to the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, well, make a run. Well, that's the only thing you can hope for. I mean, there's not much. I heard Guerin calling the PA show, and you try to put a smile on your face about it. But I mean, they were obviously aware of the situation, even when he came back, that there might be something else going on here. So it's been bothering him for quite a while, and obviously noticeably affecting his play as much as it does for Kirill Kaprizov, who does about anything in the world to want to just get back on the ice. So now just have to wait it out. Here we go again. Another major injury for a Minnesota team. In
talking about the teams that have three-peated over the years, and the reason the subject is front and center now is because the Chiefs have an opportunity to win 3 big games in a row. Yankees won, I think what I read was 4 World Series in a row and 5 World Series in a row. So in other words, they didn't just three-peat. They took it another step. They won it 4 years. No, this was back in the olden days, 30s and 50s.
I got that in front of me.
So so they also won 5 in a row. I think that was back in the 50s.
Correct.
Someone else messages from the 218. It says, hold on, I got a couple more. I got to scroll back down. Tenby, it says NDSU football was a 5-peat and a 3-peat, and I texted back and said, we're talking about the pros here, because if we are talking about 3-peats at any level, KFAN scramble team at the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
Charity golf tournament.
Right.
They would do a media scramble 9-hole.
Right.
They did it 5 years in a row? We won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
So we've three-peated. Tenby and I and JG have been part of a three-peat.
Coleman.
Was it us 4 every time, or did JG miss
I think JG has been rotated through before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
Must do it.
Yeah. But Tenby and I and Coleman, we've three-peated.
Yeah.
I never thought of that, Tenby.
Well,
we were just dominant. The other team just feared us.
we
wouldn't even play our best and win.
Yeah. Coleman was sort of like Mahomes. Yeah. Tenby was Kelsey because he's bigger, and I was like Tay-Tay. Because wearing women's underwear is part of my turnout. So we were just dominant. I forgot about that.
Well, it's right up there with the Yankees and the Chicago Bulls, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I do.
I missed those tournaments.
Yeah, those were fun.
They need to bring that back.
Remember when I cheap-shotted Lester? But he got the last laugh. Remember when the Vikings were going to fund their share of the stadium with electronic pull tabs? And at first, it was awful. Nobody was buying them. So we're over at Rush Creek for the tournament, and the media tournament. I've recanted this tale before. The media tournament got rained out, so everybody came into the clubhouse, and we're all sitting around. And Lester goes,
Lester Bagley.
Yeah, he says, "Hey, everybody, thanks for coming." He goes, "Look, we're going to get back to our place." He goes, "So drinks are on me. Everybody got to have a drink." So I said, "Hey, Lester," such a Richard. I go, "Why don't you just take the money that you were going to put towards my drink and put it towards the electronic pull tab shortfall so we can buy the stadium?" Everybody laughed. He laughed. Everybody laughed. He got the last laugh.
Yeah.
Because
it was more than just a laugh. It was like, I don't even know how you describe the rousing amount of laughter in that room. It's probably the funniest thing you've ever said.
Well, that ain't saying much.
No.
Just blindsided him. Yeah. And Lester took it, and he's got to. Well, sure, Lester's he likes where he's been, where he's going, where he's at. He's very comfortable in his skin,
he works very hard for the Wilfstown and their soccer team down in Florida too.
So he laughed. We got a kick out, but then, like I say, he got the last laugh because not only did they pay off the stadium, but they paid off the national debt with it as well.
Pretty much.
That's how much money they've raised. Let's do this. Let's take a break. Tenneby's going to try to put $1,000 in somebody's hand. We got a lot of topics to get to. Want to get your thoughts on the the NFC and AFC championship games. The Wolves played last night. I'm sure you were there.
I was.
I figured you would be. So we'll courtside or media?
No, media.
Okay. Yep. We'll get to those topics and others when we return to the Common Man program on The Fan.
The Fan wants to give you a shot to put $1,000 in your hand with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword bank at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. That keyword is bank. Enter now. KFAN.com.
Want to look leaner and be stronger? Then check out the Nuva Bar. It actually helps you work out. The Nuva Bar is the compact, lightweight way to regain freedom and balance. It targets your lower body, upper body, abs, and core without getting down on the floor. Best of all, the Nuva Bar is now on sale for just $99.99 plus free shipping and comes with interchangeable resistance bands with 7 full workouts. So if you want a trimmer waistline to look like you're 40 in your 60s, get the Nuva Bar and forget about crunches on the floor. Go to nuvabar.com. That's NUVABAR.com.
9-inch. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, this is a very important vibe. You got to listen to this one, so don't interrupt this one. Join me, Tennessee, this Saturday at 6 p.m. at Tom's Watch Bar for a KFAN Wild Watch Party. We'll have all the games live on the big screens, including your hometown hockey team, delicious food and drinks, and your chance to secure exclusive KFAN swag, and entering for a chance to qualify for Wild tickets. Get all of the details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Where is Tom's Watch Bar?
Downtown.
Minneapolis.
Very good.
Haven't been there yet. Looking forward to it.
That's a good spot.
By the way, I will be making an appearance for 5 Iron Golf February 6th from 5 to 7 for their grand opening. Today we are going to give away before the show is over, a $100 gift card to maximize your trip to 5 Iron Golf there in the North Loop in downtown Minneapolis. We'll give that away a little bit later on. Before I ask you about the Wolves last night, I would hope that the surgeon who will be doing the surgery on Kaprizov, I hope they give him more than just lower body. Go, hey, where am I supposed to operate? Lower body, you're on your own after that. I mean,
no more specific.
Do you think they'll give him more specific than that?
I hope so.
Just get in there, start digging around. You'll find that eventually we can't.
That's all I can tell you.
So that's
funny.
Thank you. I thought
that's actually very funny.
Well, I'm a funny guy.
You're a funny guy.
Thanks, yeah. It came to me.
That's true. It's like, okay, let me look at this chart. Lower body injury.
Yeah.
I need some more information. That's all we can tell you.
That's all we can't tell you anymore.
No, you figure it out for yourself.
Injury. When you get in there, you'll see it. It's going to be bad. It's going to be really ugly.
Oh, my.
Wolves win, but they're not happy about it. I think they're more embarrassed than anything. They were playing a G League team out of Atlanta, and they just couldn't. They didn't put them away till late. They had a large lead at one point.
17 at the half.
Yeah, and then they let them hang around.
You kind of knew at the beginning of the game when Atlanta was announced, well, Trae Young, their best player, wasn't going to play, and then 2 other starters were also out. And so you're kind of looking at, man, just punch the clock and get through this thing. And it's an indictment, I think, certainly on the NBA's regular season, number one. It's an indictment, and Finch deserved to call his team up because after they had the 17-point lead at halftime, they went into cruise control in the third quarter, and they scored 20 points, I think, and they were making turnover after turnover, and it was a really sloppy game, and the fans were getting restless. I mean, Rob Dillingham came in and offered a little bit of an enthusiastic push. He actually, the big play he made was saving a ball from going out of bounds, even though it ended up in Atlanta's hands. The fans gave him a rousing ovation because of his hustle.
Well, they're finally seeing some effort.
Yeah, I saw some hustle. But it was they just sleepwalked through the, after I watched a game on TV Saturday when they just destroyed Denver, and we know they match up well against the Nuggets, who lost last night again in Chicago. And they're loaded.
You know that if you lose to the Minnesota Timberwolves, you lose your next game, much like it was
automatic.
It's automatic.
Yeah. So we were in media row kind of chortling about the fact that, well, get ready, this is going to be an ugly game. That's just the way the Wolves roll. And the first half, I think, enforced they can basically just let the clock run out, even with a 24-second clock, and win this thing. And it got down to 6 at one point, and then maybe 4. And, the Wolves led wire to wire, and I never felt that Atlanta was going to win, but the Wolves let them hang around, and Finch rightfully called his starters out after the game. And, again, I think it's just as much, and this is not the only team, the only situation where these things occur. It just seems like when it happens to the local 5, it's more noticeable. And then we'll see how they respond tomorrow night in Phoenix. They're playing, the Suns tomorrow night, and they got Utah the next night, and then they come back home. They got a bunch of home games coming up, and they got 3 out of 6 or something against Oklahoma City coming up as well. So, it just was one of those games where you just kind of go, and I know it was an important game for the Wolves. They wanted to keep in that. They're looking like they're going to go anywhere from 4 to 7 in the standings, and they want to keep their head above water and hang in there with the teams that they're trying to chase and push off. But it was not pretty, far from it.
Well, I'm at the point where I don't care enough anymore. I've kind of distanced myself from the whole thing. But to me, the idea that we were just supposed to go, it's one of those games. It's like, well, no, that they made it one of those games by their lack of attentiveness to the game. I don't know if it's lack of effort or lack of basically coasting. To me, that's just, I'm so tired of that with this team. And there's other teams that do it as well. Yeah, but I'm just tired of it.
Well, I think if they hadn't had a 17-point halftime lead, it may have been different. But I think just...
Do you think people in movies, do you ever see actors like, in the middle of this movie, the movie was really good to this point, and boy, now they're kind of mailing it in on their role. Do you ever see a rock band playing and go, they're just kind of mailing it in? No.
I don't think we would know, but no, I don't think so.
And it just seems like it's acceptable in the NBA. It's just like, well, yeah, you're going to, even though you've paid a lot of money and you want to see a great game back and forth right to the bitter end, it's just not going to happen sometimes, and that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, you could have easily seen a 34 or 40-point rout. I mean, that's what the Wolves did against Denver on Saturday. It was about a perfect game as they've ever played in the last couple of years,
even
the regular season.
That last night.
Well, they should have, and that they missed shots. It wasn't like they were just turning the ball over. They had a lot of open looks, and as Ann said, they were not hitting their shots. And I don't know, that happens too in the league.
I think it's a lack of focus.
Well, I think there's no doubt, and that's what Finch
letdown after
called them out hard right after the. Well, I mean, if they'd had a letdown right after the Nuggets game, they would have come out like that. But they came out and they were blowing them off the court. That's what I'm saying. They're led by 17. It wasn't like they were.
Meanwhile, my second favorite team destroyed the Memphis Grizzlies last night, 143-104, I think. Bodega Cat, 24 points, 11 boards. He was brilliant again last night. He hasn't been most of the year. Mm-hmm. If I had a vote, I'd call him the NBA's most valuable player.
That's a stretch.
Why is it a stretch?
Above average at that.
They're third place in the...
They are. They're playing well.
Playing really well. They're third place in the East. You got two really good teams over there in the East. You got the Cavaliers and the
Celtics. Yeah.
And the Celtics. To be third place, that's pretty good.
No, it is. And it's more than anything, just kind of getting ready. And Bodega Cat's got he knows what it's like to win in the postseason. I did when I was leaving last night. I saw Tim Connolly. And
you did?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking to myself that with the trading deadline coming up, and there's still lots of rumors, even centering around Randall, even though he's starting to play a little bit better. He still has, to me, he's wildly inconsistent. Sometimes he looks like a all-pro type player. The next minute, he looks like a guy could be in the G League.
Yep.
Boy, the guy that really, and he's trying to give him some time last night, to play Josh Minot. I mean, he looked like a JV high school kid last night. He could not make a layup. He didn't play very much, but his confidence was...
He's been struggling these last few times.
I talked to Johnny Athletic about it last night. I said, what's going on with Minot?
The coach basically was quoted in either a Johnny Krasinski piece or maybe it was Fish Rep West or East, where he said, he's just not doing enough on the offensive floor for us to keep him in the game. He said defensively he's fine, but when the coach publicly says you ain't doing enough, you're a detriment to what we're doing out there. That's not good.
He gave him a couple chances, and he missed, as they say, 3 or 4 little bunnies, as they like to call them. And it was like, oh my goodness! I think he was one of those, how to get away. How can I get away? He didn't want to go back to the bench. I mean, he was embarrassed, I think, because of that. But anyway, there are a couple of injuries that happened. I think they're going to be okay. Naz Reid left with a shoulder injury, came back late in the game. Nickeil Alexander-Walker looked like he had to be helped off the court with an ankle, but he also walked back. So we'll see what their status is. Sometimes it gets worse, the day after. We'll see what their status is tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's all we can.
But they're kind of their high water mark. They're 4 games over 500. That's the highest they've been all season, 25-21.
As we go to break,
yes, sir.
I got a trivia question for the both of you.
All right.
We were talking three-peats.
Yeah.
Which school is the last NCAA Division I football team to win 3 championships in a row?
University of Minnesota.
You are correct.
I was going to add that when you were talking about three-peats.
Was it 34, 35, 36?
Bernie Bierman.
Like
Who would have thought?
Bernie Bierman.
That's why they call it the Bierman Building. They named it after.
They did?
Yeah. I didn't know if you knew that. Were you aware of that to me?
Yeah.
The Bernie Bierman Building was named after Bernie Bierman.
I feel like we haven't named many buildings after anyone recently.
No, I don't think we have.
It's been a while. We should have a Puckett building.
We got a Porta Potty Park where they play soccer. But let's do this. Let's take a break, come back, and we will get to NFC AFC Championship game. You are an interested observer. We'll get your thoughts on them when we return to the Common Man program here on The Fan.
Want to look leaner and be stronger? Then check out the Nuva Bar. It actually helps you work out. The Nuva Bar is the compact, lightweight way to regain freedom and balance. It targets your lower body, upper body, abs, and core without getting down on the floor. Best of all, the Nuva Bar is now on sale for just $99.99 plus free shipping and comes with interchangeable resistance bands with 7 full workouts. So if you want a trimmer waistline to look like you're 40 in your 60s, get the Nuva Bar and forget about crunches on the floor. Go to NuvaBar.com. That's NuvaBar.com.
You know him from the Bad Boys franchise. Now see him live at Mystic Lake. Actor and comedian Martin Lawrence is bringing the Y'all Know What It Is tour to the Mystic Showroom on May 2nd and 3rd. Check out our contest page now to see how you can win your way into the May 2nd show. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter.
I got you covered with a $100 gift card for 5 Iron Golf. I'll be there for their grand opening. You can see me. You can verbally slap me on the back, touch the hem of the garment, and hit knockdown, punch, cut, fade draws and participate in the closest to the pin contest with me Thursday, February 6th from 7 until 9. And you can bring along your $100 gift card. We'll give it to the 11th caller at 1-800-320-5326. 1-800-320-5326. 11th caller wins a $100 gift card to 5 Iron Golf in the North Loop, downtown Minneapolis. We'll see you there on February 6th. Well, the legendary one, we had 2 National Football League AFC NFC Championship games. Probably outcomes aren't too hard to believe. First game ended up being a blowout. Right. Washington kept it close early. Their undoing really was basically they turned the ball over 4 different times.
Right.
Second game went right down to the wire. Josh Allen and Buffalo fans, their hearts broken again. That first game, it's funny. First drive, Washington, 7
17 plays?
Yeah, 18 plays, 7 minutes and 3 seconds, however many yards it was, 70 or 80 yards. They settled for a field goal.
I was shocked.
Philadelphia's drive, one play. And it's the Saquon Barkley runs. It's 7-3, just like that.
And their defense was right back on the field.
They were right back.
I was really surprised, given the fact they were talking about how Washington, had gone for it. They always talk about the Lions going for it on fourth down, but Washington had gone for it. And I know it was 4th and 3. It wasn't 4th and 1, but still, I thought, well, field goals, that's great. Take the points. But in this day and age, they'd done so much to get down in that situation. I frankly was very surprised.
I was surprised too.
That Quinn had decided to kick the field goal and get 3 measly points out of it. But as you mentioned, their undoing was the turnovers, and they're just most inopportune times, in much way that the Lions, I'm sure the Lion fans watching that going, how did we lose to this team? Well, turnovers. I mean, that was it. And they weren't quite ready for prime time. It looked like, Jane Daniels was that's a difficult environment. I mean, the road teams are definitely in most cases like that, especially when you start the game with a 60-yard touchdown run at a pretty bad disadvantage trying to come back in Philly to win a game or even Kansas City.
I think Brady summed it up pretty well. I don't even think it was so much the environment. It's the competition he was facing. Against Detroit, they were facing a decimated Detroit defense, and they could do pretty much anything they wanted to do. Philadelphia's one of the best defenses in pro football, if not the very best. As Brady pointed out, every single yard they scratch and claw for. And Philadelphia shows you a lot of different looks. And they've got they got pressure coming from a lot of different places, and a quality secondary with big play Slay and others. That's just a hard team to move the ball against as compared to Detroit. And so, it certainly isn't the end of the kid's career. He's got a lot of talent. He's got a bright future. But Philadelphia is just really well-rounded. Ted and I were talking about this yesterday. Last year, they were, I think, something like 10-1 or 11-1. Right. And then they lost like their last 4 or 5 regular season games in a row. Something went horribly wrong. And then they got beat in the first round of the playoffs. And was it by Green Bay? I don't remember.
It was by the Packers.
Maybe it was Tampa Bay. Whoever beat them. I know that somebody beat. No, Green Bay beat Dallas, I think. Regardless.
Not Dallas.
Philadelphia got.
Whatever.
No, Green Bay did beat Dallas in the first round of the playoffs.
I remember Dallas being in the playoffs.
Oh, wasn't it Dallas?
I don't know. You have to look it up.
I thought it was. Maybe it wasn't Dallas.
All kind of washes over.
I thought it was Dallas. But anyway,
but the Eagles are awfully good.
Yeah, they lost like 5 games in a row and then lost in the first round of the playoffs. But you can't remove that. But other than that, you take out this season in the first 12 games of last year, as good as any team in pro football. And they're a very well-rounded club, well-coached, however you want to say it. I think they have a chance to give Kansas City a run for their money.
Well, 100% they do.
Though Kansas City, again, did what they just seem to do. They've been in, what did you say, Teneby? Have they been in 7 consecutive AFC championship games?
Yes.
7 consecutive AFC championship games. They're going to their 4th or 5th big game. I think their 4th big game.
They've won 17 straight one-score games.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And they will go. It was a really good game against Buffalo. They had started out again. A little slow for Buffalo. I think Buffalo ended up a 3-and-out to start the game. Kansas City marched the ball down the field. They tore them apart, took a 7-0 lead. And I certainly wasn't thinking blow-up. I was thinking, well, maybe this game will be a little different than I thought. Ended up being a thriller right to the very end, and Buffalo had the ball with an opportunity to get into a situation to win the football game. And instead, the defense was just too much for them. He throws the interception late, not the interception, the incomplete pass on the 4th down. The tight end had it in his hands, too. Hell of a throw when he's thrown off his back foot. He's being rushed by a cornerback that's untouched, and Allen just lets it go. The tight end looked like he probably could have caught the ball. And what does Kansas City do? What they always do. March down the field.
3rd and 4.
Kick the field goal. I think it was before that happened. Yeah, that was before that.
Yeah, they clinched it on the 3rd and 4 pass.
Yeah, so exactly.
Back up running back. And with all the consternation about the tush push by Buffalo, and did he make the first down? Did he get the first down or not? And there's got to be a better way of marking it. I don't know why they don't even measure anymore. That's a whole other thing, depending on which linesman mark the ball. But my point was, instead of trying the tush push, I'm like yelling at my TV. I'm going, James Cook had been tearing this team apart. And I'm thinking, okay, and Josh Allen isn't built like Jalen Hurts is for that play. I know he's had success with it, but why not?
He's pretty built.
No, I know, but
he's a big dude.
Why not pitch the ball to the most effective player you have on your team that day? And that's James Cook. You need a yard. And they did that not once, but like 3 different times. And I thought Sean McDermott just got out-coached by Andy Reid. I really
do. When you do try, I mean, it has been very successful, but it's... No, I'm sticking up for you. Let me finish.
Okay.
It's been very successful. I think for me, the problem was, and again, this is what Romo was pointing out. I think he was spot on. Allen likes to do that play to the left side of the line every single time because maybe he trusts that or he just likes running to that side. They're expecting that run. So if you're going to run that play, maybe try to the other side of the line, or as you say, go to Cook. Do something different. But they knew from watching film, anytime Josh Allen is going to try the quarterback sneak, he's going to do it on the left side, and they were waiting for it.
Yeah, the margin for error is so slight. So we can talk about the conspiracy theories and all that other stuff where they mark the ball, and it's still their margin for error was so slim. And my point is, Cook hadn't really been stopped, and you saw other plays where
correct.
Where they took advantage of it, getting to the outside. They don't need much at all to keep that drive alive and to make it happen. So I just thought, again, I thought McDermott or the offensive coordinator, whomever, just got out coached there and out schemed or whatever the case may be. I don't know. I get, and I want to, like a lot of people, I wanted Buffalo to win. I mean, you could tell the frustration and. They've beaten them in the regular season, a number of times. They just can't get over the hump in the postseason. You wonder if they ever will at this point, especially if they have to play in Kansas City. But for those who say, and you talked about the three-peats and everything, yawn, I don't care about I'm not going to watch the Super Bowl like I'm boycotting it or whatever. I'm going, fine, we'll miss you. 100 million people are going to watch that game.
I'm not.
You're not going to watch the game?
I'm done with him. I'm not, because I don't want to see Kansas City win another big game. I'm tired of it.
Well, maybe Philadelphia will win. How do you Kansas City? It's like a toss-up game. What do you mean you don't want to see Kansas City win? So watch it, and if Kansas City takes a lead?
10-8.
Yeah, I'll bet. I'll take the Eagles.
Bet?
More than $8.
$9.23.
I always love that one.
Odd number. Whatever you want.
$9.23.
Okay, well, that's just...
That's what I feel comfortable betting.
You carry change in your pocket?
$9.25.
Okay, fine. You get a quarter to put
I'll take Kansas City.
Okay, I'll take Philadelphia. But anyway, the point of the matter is, I understand... I can't stand the Eagles fans. I experienced it firsthand. I saw what happened a few years ago. But it's hard not to say that they don't deserve this opportunity. And
I don't root for fan bases.
And I don't either. No,
so I'm talking about for teams.
Yeah, and right. And I think that I'm an Andy Reid fan. I happen to have a lot of respect for that guy. And we don't have too many. We had Brady, and we had his run for a while.
Yeah.
But in sports, it's unusual. This is the first time in the history of the NFL that a team could win 3 straight Super Bowls. If you don't want to watch it because of that, fine. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, the NFL is a monster. They're not going to miss you.
Well, I know.
I won't watch the Rockford Files.
And guess what? I won't miss that.
No, I know. I don't know. I mean, that's fine. It's just strange to me if you spend all year long watching the game and you come down to the Super Bowl and you don't want to watch the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't. It just seems kind of odd. If you want to have a party and kind of half pay attention,
I didn't watch
that's
Godfather 3. I'd had enough with Godfather 1 and 2. Well, that's it.
For good reason. Godfather 3 sucked.
Well, but you didn't know at the time it was.
Yeah, I kind of did.
So you knew before seeing the movie it was going to be bad?
I thought it was going to be bad, yeah. Because the first 2 were epic. 2 of the best movies ever made.
So instead of thinking it would be... So do you think Kansas City will suck on their third time?
No.
Well, if you thought the third Godfather was going to suck...
I don't think it's a fair comparison.
Oh, okay.
You're comparing a franchise that... Star Wars movies just kind of hit the wall after a while, and then they kind of came back at the end. But
what about Rocky?
Same thing.
Which did you like better, 8 or 9?
8 or 9. 1 and 2 for me. I'll never forget the standing ovation that movie got the first time I saw it in a movie theater. First people stood up in the movie theater at the old I think it was a Terrace Theater.
Who were they clapping for? The people on the screen aren't there.
It doesn't matter. You felt like you were ringside. It was you have to suspend your your imagination at that point and realize.
Timmy, can you see yourself standing up at a movie theater?
I'm telling you, people clapped.
Giving a movie.
Well, you've been in movies where people have clapped, haven't you? Or
yeah, but I never.
When the bad guy. No, I haven't either. But when people.
Did you stand up when everybody else stood up? Were you the only person sitting during Rocky?
Not the only person, but I was clapping.
But you didn't give it a standing ovation.
No.
Well, why didn't you get into the spirit of it?
I was enjoying it from my own vantage point, but. I don't. Whatever. I mean, I'm not. I don't care if people watch it or not. It's not going to affect my life. But
mine either.
But it's. I just think it's kind of weird mentality.
Mahomes? Aren't you tired of Travis Kelce? Aren't you tired of?
I mean, it's not like it's. I think people felt the same way about the Yankees. You talk about the Yankees.
Aren't you tired of Bundele Save? Bundele.
Oh God, I do hate that commercial.
What's State Farm? And it's Bundele.
You mentioned the when the Oakland Athletics. We're old enough to remember when they had their dynasty and Charlie Finley's teams. I don't think people got sick of them. I did. Oh man, and the Yankees. People love to hate the Yankees when Mariano Rivera and Andy Pettitte and Derek Jeter and Bernie Williams and here we go again.
Despise the Patriots after a while. Just so sick of them.
And that's okay if you despise them. There's nothing wrong with that. That's part of the sports lexicon that we get involved. But it doesn't mean I'm not. I would not want to not watch it because of that. Now I want to Josh. You wanted Detroit to be there. I think Detroit, Philadelphia, Detroit, and Kansas City would have been great.
Detroit wasn't that far away from moving on.
They were what?
Touchdown, 2-point conversion, onside kick.
Yeah.
Touchdown, 2-point conversion, onside kick. Touchdown, 2-point conversion.
I don't know. It's just all these other aside reasons. Like I think because of the conspiracy thing, and that my feeling in Buffalo had plenty of chances to win that game. They had plenty of chances to stop Kansas City. And yeah, there are going to be controversial calls. I think the Rules Committee has their work cut out for them this offseason to kind of improve things. Some of the penalties that need to be reviewed or need to be reviewed.
Do you think so? There were two calls. Some of that stuff, but I don't think that there were two calls. There was the first down,
right,
in which one official on one side had him making the first down, the other had the miss, and they sided with the Chiefs, which was he didn't get the first down. Then there was the catch that was wrestled away from the receiver.
Right.
And it seemed like both guys in the booth, Aikman and Romo and Nance and Gene Steratore, is that his name?
Steratore, whatever.
They all three of them thought, well, that ball touched the ground. Again, it went in favor of Kansas City. Mm-hmm. Kansas City the week before had a couple of calls go in their favor. I love a good conspiracy theory, and I think some are legitimate, like the Babushka lady, like the Umbrella Man. But others I don't. I don't think.
Well, we're about to find out.
I don't think the league. Did this. It just, and I can understand why people feel that way. Though, it's like because it does seem like anytime there's a close play or a penalty, it just seems like it always goes
the
Kansas City. But I bet if you picked through games, there would be many times where Kansas City didn't get it, but people tend to forget about those.
Well, again, my point is Buffalo, you talked about at the beginning of the game. Buffalo has to take responsibility for some of this stuff, too.
That's correct.
And they let the Chiefs go down the field more than a couple times.
That is correct.
And that's not the officiating. That's them not stopping them. And then getting back to some of the calls near the end of the game, I thought they were in great position to go down and not just kick a field goal to send it to overtime, but to win that football game. And, the fourth down play, again, that's just my own personal, I'm yelling at the TV, give it to Cook, give it to Cook. You can't stop that guy. Dalvin's younger brother. He was playing at a really, really high level. And I thought that they had the Chiefs back battling, but, they got to live with that the offseason again. So,
Tennessee, someone suggests that they get the sneaking suspicion that you did give a movie a standing ovation, Dumb and Dumber. Did you stand up in the theater and give it a standing ovation?
I did not watch that one in the theater.
I just wanted to check. The listeners were wanting.
I watched it on my couch. It was a where were you moment because I remember spitting out my milk at one of the lines. Yeah. So
that'll happen.
I remember exactly where I was when I watched Dumb and Dumber.
That'll happen. Who do you like in the game? Do you think? I think the biggest difference between the last time they met, there are several. I'm sure the rosters are not identical, but the biggest difference between Philly and Kansas City is what? Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't have a running game like that to face Kansas City. And he, again, we talked about this, just earlier in the segment about Washington takes up 17 plays in 7 minutes or 18 plays and kicks a field goal. They have one play in there in the end zone. He had another, his second touch he had to run. He ran for 100+ again. He ran for 2,000 yards. He seems to be getting, usually at this time of the year we talk about running backs. Well, by this time, with as many carries as these guys get, they're going to be beaten down and not as effective.
Right.
He doesn't seem like he's lost anything this season, and that will be the interesting thing to see. I'm sure Philadelphia will. It makes sense, right? They try to establish the run right away. We're going to do what got us here, and that's a heavy dose of Saquon. I mean, they can throw the ball a little bit too. I get that.
Hurts got better, yeah.
But they're going to try to run the ball, and I think that's going to be, if Kansas City is effective in stopping the run, that might change the way Philadelphia wants to play the game. But if Saquon gets going, that's where I think Philadelphia does have an opportunity to win the game.
Well, yeah, and it goes back. It's just salt in the wound of the New York Giants woebegone franchise. They were watching. I remember watching Hard Knocks this summer, and they were talking about showing the GM on the phone with Saquon, saying, "You know what? Go out there and I understand you want to go test the market and kind of get back to us." Like, yeah, okay, I'll get back to you. I'm not only going to not sign with you, I'm going to go to the arch rival.
And he wouldn't be the first to leave a team and then go on to greater things. You remember? Do you know who George Herman Ruth is?
I've heard the name.
George Herman Ruth was sold for, how much was it? $18,000 or something?
Possibly some, but a lot of money
back
at that
then.
time.
It was a gigantic sum. Sold from the Boston Red Sox over the New York Yankees.
It worked out pretty well for him. Well, we had David Ortiz, the Minnesota Twins.
Yep.
He was a free agent and signed with the Red Sox, and something happened to him. Oh, he got healthy and then ended up being a Hall of Famer.
Kirk Cousins goes from Minnesota to Atlanta. Okay, wait, I guess that's not...
It's not the same.
The same.
Not quite.
Bodega Cat.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that works out.
Bodega Cat goes from Minnesota. Now he's with the New York Knickerbockers. I think he's delighted to be there. Right now.
I think he's very delighted to be there. Yeah, and then he liked it here. I mean, there's no hard feelings here. It's not like it's Garnett forced his way out of Minnesota to the Celtics and an eventual championship. Not the same with Bodega, as you like to call him. Where'd you come up with that?
That's what they call him in New York, Bodega Cat.
I did not know that.
Yeah, because apparently, and I did not know this either, every one of these little grocery stores that are pretty much on every block in New York, right? The little neighborhood grocery stores.
Those are great. Yeah.
They have a cat that is to chase the mice away, right? Mm-hmm. And he lives there. And they call it a Bodega Cat.
Little known fact.
Yes, Bodega Cat. So the people in New York, you know how they are, because he's cat, they started calling him Bodega Cat.
That's wonderful.
And I just love saying Bodega Cat.
I know you do.
I just love the way it sounds. And I'm hoping somebody will make a T-shirt that says Bodega Cat, and I would wear it.
I'm surprised it hasn't been done yet.
It might be in New York.
Yeah,
I would love to have a Bodega Cat T-shirt.
One of the street corners where they sell, their so-called illegal T-shirts, et cetera, and those Gucci watches for $8.
Now, somebody just sent this to me, and maybe this is true. This says, there is a stat, I think from ESPN, that the Chiefs are plus 222 positive yards and penalty calls in their favor over the past 11 playoff games. If that's true,
most of those have been at home, too.
Now I believe the conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I mean,
how can you be plus 222?
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
Their past 11 playoff games. Yeah. I remember who said it was a member of the Chiefs. I don't think it was Kelsey. And maybe it wasn't even a member of the Chiefs. Somebody basically said, well, we're just on a really well-coached team. Sorry.
Yeah.
They attribute it to coaches. Somebody said that either for the Chiefs or maybe it was another
well,
player.
It's all, as they say, you could call holding on almost every play. And there are many times they show replays and go, well, when they show the actual penalty, the guy gets his hand up in the face mask. That's a call they make. But there are many times when that's done and it's not called. But that seems to be rather one-sided. My point was for Sunday's game when that particular play, which I still don't understand why they didn't measure it. I don't know what happened to that. I
don't know.
They used to do that all the time.
But that's not even that accurate.
Well, it isn't. But you think that people are talking the fact they should have some sort of electronic thing. In all these other sports, they have.
Here's another one for you. Yeah. When you left WCCO radio, go to KQ radio.
When I left KQ to go to WCCO.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Okay. What?
Well, it's like Bodega Cat going, Saquon changing.
Pretty much was. It was bigger.
That's what I'm saying.
That was a big deal.
Or when you went from WCCO television
to where?
To Fox television.
I wasn't.
You're over at Fox right now.
I know, but that's a whole different situation. I retired from CCO.
I'm just saying you made a change.
I did.
For the better. We'll see you tomorrow.
I'm still here, thank goodness.
We'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Tenebby and I will be back tomorrow at 1. Ben Johnson's show at noon. Tenebby, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. We'll see you tomorrow at 1. Big ticket, JG, there next year on the Fan.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
Want to look leaner and be stronger? Then check out the NuvaBar. It actually helps you work out. The NuvaBar is the compact, lightweight way to regain freedom and balance. It targets your lower body, upper body, abs, and core without getting down on the floor. Best of all, the NuvaBar is now on sale for just $99.99 plus free shipping and comes with interchangeable resistance bands with 7 full workouts. So if you want a trimmer waistline to look like you're 40 in your 60s, get the NuvaBar and forget about crunches on the floor. Go to NuvaBar.com. That's NuvaBar.com.
Looking for excitement? Chumba Casino is here. Play anytime, play anywhere. Play on the train, play at the store, play at home, play when you're bored. Play today for your chance to win and get daily bonuses when you log in. So what are you waiting for? Don't delay. Chumba Casino is free to play.
Experience social gameplay like never before. Go to Chumba Casino right now to play hundreds of games, including online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Live the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com.
VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.